Will Iran adhere to its part of a nuclear deal? As on last Monday in Geneva, Iran's delegation entered talks with world powers to hammer out a lasting nuclear deal ahead of today's deadline of 24th of November. The commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, Brigadier Mohammad Ali Jaffari, declared that despite the incompetence of our nuclear negotiating team, we have managed to humiliate the Americans at the talks, as we always face them as our sole enemy. Last week, the Guard's Central Command had also issued a statement that said the US remains the Islamic Republic's main adversary and that Tehran's long-term regional foreign policy is to throw the American forces out of the Middle East region. The apparently uncompromising statements coincided with the Reuters report on a leaked document from the UN Atomic Energy Agency that Iran has actually stepped up its nuclear enrichment activities while supposedly under an interim agreement not to do so. It may have been the combination of these worrying developments that made President Obama dampen hopes of reaching a historic deal over Iran's nuclear program when he warned that we may not be able to get there as big gaps still remained between the negotiating teams. That's what he said. In their current negotiations with Iran about its nuclear ambitions, world powers led by the Obama administration ignore a crucial fact that Iran's political decision-makings are not run from the office of its president, but the household of the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, Beit Rahbari, who in turn is ruled over by the Revolutionary Guards, or Pasdaran in Persian language. Born as a volunteer militia force in the heat of the 1979 revolution, the Guard has gradually turned into a military and business conglomerate that, with many of its members as soldiers turned politicians in key ministries and Majlis, the parliament, effectively controls Iran's economy, industries, intelligence communities, and the foreign affairs policies. In an interview with the Guardian newspaper, Mohsen Sazegara, an exiled Iranian dissident who actually helped found the Pasdaran, calls it an Iranian version of the Soviet-era KGB. While in 2012, Hillary Clinton said that Iran was heading towards a military dictatorship, she was rather late to realize that the process had already taken place years earlier when the Pasdaran became close business and ideological partners of the Russian and Chinese military and nuclear industries, and that today they actually have the last say on these issues in Iran, including the nuclear issue. It is within these circumstances that the Rouhani government entered this latest phase of nuclear negotiations immediately after assuming power in 2013. While Rouhani has tied up the success of his administration by ending the paralyzing international sanctions on Iran through a nuclear deal, the stakes are even higher for the Guards, as Iran's reformists seek to use the rewarding economic and political outcome of such a deal to strengthen their position within the political leadership to the extent of breaking the taboo of re-establishing diplomatic links with the US. However, with the latest such much publicized reports on the deteriorating health of Khamenei, the question of who would succeed him has inevitably come to the fore, with the Revolutionary Guards vying to secure their own power bases in a post-Khamenei era. While the names of a few potential successors have been circulating in private in Iran, however, with all authoritarian regimes, Khamenei clearly displayed his own candidate last week when Qasem Soleimani, the elusive commander of the Guards Quds Brigade, for the first time ever sat next to the Supreme Leader in a televised ceremony commemorating the religious mourning day of Ashura. The Obama administration and other world powers may be negotiating with the civilian diplomats of the Islamic Republic regime to arrive at a nuclear deal on paper, but they will have to deal with the Pasdaran to make it work. The comments of their commander, General Jaffari, should give an indication of what the Iranians and the world can expect from them in that respect. Beruz Behboudi.